Currently, I'm in the middle of my junior year of high school. As many of the other youth group members can relate, this is a time when you're pushed towards figuring out what you want to do, to choose where you want to go next in life. For example, my parents are helping me sign up for college visits, and I've started taking the ACT and other standardized tests. If my parents can attest, I'm not that enthusiastic about this. To be honest, I'm not sure where I want to end up or how to get there, but I do know I do want to do something with mathematics. I like to think this is why I'm not that interested about the real world in my future, although it's most likely because of my procrastination problem. As my more nerdy friends at school like to joke, the useless is for mathematicians, but the real world is for physicists. So when I started writing about moving forward in life, I had a lot of trouble figuring out what to say. I don't know how you become a mathematician or what you can do as one. My biggest problem was that I was distracted by a math paper I had read, and as usual I got caught up with the problem until I procrastinated to the very last minute to write this speech. However, unlike most of the problems I come across, it's actually related to what I was trying to do. In the paper, they prove what is called a free will theorem. I had originally heard about it from the author John Conway at a lecture he gave at the math camp I attended last summer. I remembered that I wanted to read it when the youth group came up with the theme of moving forward in life. After all, the choices we make are a big point of how we drive forward, and the topic of free will is itself an interesting subject. Mostly, I was shocked that there was a mathematician who successfully published a paper about free will. The job of a mathematician is to prove propositions and conjectures. Proving free will seems impossible, like trying to prove there's a God or not. Unfortunately, Conway didn't prove that free will exists, but he did show something quite curious. His free will theorem says that if two experimenters in question are free to make choices about the measurements to take, the results of the measurements on elementary particles cannot be predicted based on its prior history. In English, this essentially means the following. If we all have free will, then elementary particles, or the smallest bits of matter that make up the universe, also have free will. When Conway says particles have free will, it doesn't mean that matter can consciously make decisions, though. It means that the universe on the smallest scale acts in a way that can't be predicted, but the actions of particles like electrons and protons that make up the atoms aren't predetermined. They act randomly, almost as if they were consciously deciding how to act. I believe in free will, but I never thought that this belief had such odd implications. I spent the last week pondering this theorem, but I still don't get how matter can act with free will. I guess this is okay, however. As Richard Feynman said, if you meet someone who claims to understand quantum mechanics, the only thing you can be sure of is that you've met a liar. So I got up Saturday with a bad, rough shell of a speech, having wasted all my time trying to figure out how I could possibly fit a random piece of mathematics into a speech about moving forward in life. But then I realized this experience about sums up what I want to do. A mathematician spends his time thinking about random things that most people will probably find completely useless, and oftentimes they're completely disjoint from any real-world application. I just spent the last week wasting time pondering free will when I should have been writing a speech for church. Based on how I think and act, I think that being a mathematician suits me well. I guess my nerdy friends are right. The physicists can have the real world.